Ambassador Kenneth Quinn.
President of Nigeria, Mr. Secretary General, as President of the World Food Prize Foundation, I'm very indebted to the organizing committee to allow me to have a few moments to make a very special presentation in the name of Dr. Norman Borlaug. Mr. Vice President, I was very touched by your words about Dr. Borlaug and the inspiration he has and he provides. And Dr. Borlaug in 1986 created the World Food Prize to recognize great achievements, breakthrough achievements in increasing the quality, quantity, and availability of food in the world. And guided by a council of advisors, including former President Obasanjo, over the past 24 years, we have honored laureates from Asia, from North America, from Europe, from South America, and on 2 occasions from Africa. And 3 of our laureates are here today. Catherine Bertini, the 2nd woman laureate, and Dr. Monty Jones from Sierra Leone, and Dr. Gebisa Ejeta from Ethiopia. Indeed. But just so I can interject a commercial message, we need more nominations. We need more laureates from Africa. And I want to encourage you, and we need more women laureates, to please nominate, send them in to us. But Dr. Borlaug found out that as we selected our laureates, that it became really almost impossible, given the criteria for heads of government, heads of state, the leaders of international organizations, to ever be recognized. And so he asked me to create a separate award. And in 2006, we created the Norman E. Borlaug Medallion. But Norm insisted that this had to be a special award given only in very exceptional circumstances and only to people who have truly done great things in leading the fight against hunger. And so it is only twice before given. Once in 2007 to His Majesty the King of Thailand in Bangkok, in Tokyo to Yohei Sasakawa and the Sasakawa Global Foundation for their work in Africa, and today, for the 3rd time, it will be presented here in Africa. 2001, I had the privilege of going with Norm to Oslo. It was the 100th anniversary of the Nobel Peace Prize, and all the living laureates were invited back. And it was the same year that the Secretary General received the Nobel Peace Prize. And at the end, they invited all the laureates up on the stage to take a group picture. And as I think back to that moment and looking there, that the longest serving laureate, Norman Borlaug, and the newest laureate, the Secretary General, in fact, created a special bond and a special partnership. You know, Norm had several things that he really desired and really believed. And he believed that only with the leadership of heads of government could real progress be made. The Secretary General had brought the UN Millennium Summit and the Millennium Development Goals and had done more to fulfill Norm's dream in that regard than anyone else. And he would go on to become the head of AGRA, working on fulfilling another one of Norm's dreams that he worked so hard on to bring the Green Revolution to Africa. You know, Norm died on September 12th. Hard to believe, just about a year ago.
The women who take all the risks and swim or sink alone, but they can rest assured that help is on the way from their governments and from the partners.
Let's please usher the Ambassador and Mr. Kofi Annan down with a round of applause.
Listen, safely.
Now that sounds like you're clapping for me when it dies down. Make sure this is a huge celebration, ladies and gents. Make it bigger than that. Yeah! We are in Africa, aren't we? Can I hear you ululating? Right. Now, I hate to do this. I really do. But I'm going to have to ask the first panel of the day to come up. And our topic is the road towards an African green revolution. Now, what I hate to do is to watch Mr. Kofi Annan walk down and then I have to ask him to please come back on stage because he is part of the panel. So please give him another round of applause. Prime Minister Peter Pinda, His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Judith Rodin, President of the Rockefeller Foundation, Sylvia Matthews Burwell, President of the Global Development Program with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Dr. Namanga Ngongi, President of the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, Dr. Kanayo Nwanze, President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and of course to lead this discussion, it is my pleasure to hand over to journalist and broadcaster Dumi Makhabo.
Yes, Vice. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to my fellow, not my fellow panelists, my panelists. And I believe the Vice President will be able to stay with us for this panel discussion, so we really do appreciate that. We know that you're very busy.
Thank you.
We're going to get started almost immediately with a panel discussion, but before we do that, I'd like to really ask, because I know that there are a few people who have those new electronic gadget devices attached to their hands called mobile phones. So I'm going to ask that those who cannot, by all will, turn them off, if you can at least put them on silent so we can be sure that throughout the discussion we're not getting interrupted by those. So I'm going to begin with you. We heard a lot of examples and we heard a lot being said about significant progress being made. I'm not going to ask you to repeat because I think you gave a really good outline of a lot of the work and the progress that's been made. The question, however, is that we still have in the region of 300 million people who are still going to bed hungry on our continent. Is this happening fast enough?
No, it's not happening fast enough, but that's why we are trying to accelerate the progress in food production. I think with the holistic approach we are proposing, where you improve things all along the value chain and encourage the smallholder farmers who today produce the bulk of the food of Africa to increase their yield, to be able to look after their families and sell the surplus. Along with medium and size or large size commercial farms, you're going to be able to feed the people. We had a very interesting experience 2 days ago on a farm in Mali. A young man who has been given a new variety of corn. And the yield was going to be much larger than his traditional one. We asked him, if you produce more, would you sell it on the market? He said, I produce for my family. And I said, but if you produce more than your family needs, would you sell it? He had to think about that and sort of said, then I would look for market. And it's different from each African country. The Kenyan farmer produces to sell as well as to feed the family. Some produce only for themselves, as well as, but not everybody's on the farm. So we need to have production in enough quantities to be able to reach the 300 million people you're talking about as fast